Runabout.
Runabout.
Runaround.
Runaround.
Every time we ask the landlord about fixing the roof, he gives us the runaround.
Runaway.
Runaway.
A runaway horse.
The film was a runaway success.
Runaway inflation.
A runaway victory.
Run down.
Rundown.
The rundown of British Steel's activities in Scotland.
Connors promised to give me a rundown on local police activity.
Run down.
Run down.
A run-down inner-city area.
You look a bit run down.
Ruin.
Ruin.
Rung.
Rung. Rung.
Humans are on the highest rung of the evolutionary ladder.
Run in.
Run in.
Michael got drunk and had a run-in with the police.
Runnel.
Runnel.
Runner.
Runner.
A long-distance runner.
A marathon runner.
The runners and riders appear in Friday's Racing Post.
By the time the police had got there, the boys had done a runner. Runner bean.
Runner bean.
Runner up.
Runner up.
Running.
Running.
Did you go running this morning?
New facilities include a pool and a running track.
Running shoes.
Brian took over the day-to-day running of the company while his father was away.
He praised the smooth running of the election. Who's in the running for the world title this year?
The sound of running water.
Rinse the vegetables thoroughly under running water.
She gave us a running commentary of what was happening in the street.
Keep a running total of your expenses as you go along.
She won the prize for the 4th year running.
Running costs.
Running costs.
Running mate.
Running mate.
Running repairs.
Running repairs.
Running time.
Running time.
Runny.
Runny.
The butter had gone runny in the heat.
Run off.
Run off.
Run of the mill.
Run of the mill.
A run-of-the-mill performance.
Run-on sentence.
Run-on sentence.
Run rate. Run rate.
Runt.
Runt.
The runt of the litter.
Run through. Run through.
A final run-through of the play.
Run up.
Run up.
In the run-up to the election.
Runway.
Runway.
Rupee.
Rupee.
Rupiah.
Rupiah.
Rupture.
Rupture.
The rupture of a blood vessel.
The 11th century saw the formal rupture between East and West.
The rupture with his father was absolute. The pipe will rupture at its weakest point.
His liver was ruptured when a brick wall collapsed on him. His liver was ruptured when a brick wall collapsed on him.
The noise ruptured the tranquility of the afternoon.
Rural.
Rural.
A rural setting.
Rural bus routes.
It's very rural around here, isn't it?
Rural delivery.
Rural delivery.
Ruse.
Ruse.
Agnes tried to think of a ruse to get Paul out of the house.
Rush.
Rush.
A small girl rushed past her.
Mo rushed off down the corridor. I rushed to pack my suitcase before she came back.
He rushed to help his comrade.
He does not intend to rush his decision.
I'm not rushing into marriage again.
She rushed through her script.
When we first met, neither of us wanted to rush things.
The Red Cross rushed medical supplies to the war zone.
Dan was rushed to hospital with serious head injuries.
I'm sorry to rush you, but we need a decision by Friday.
They felt they were being rushed into choosing a new leader. Water rushed through the gorge.
I felt the blood rush to my face as I heard my name.
They rushed the guard and stole his keys.
Get things ready early so that you don't have to rush around at the last minute. The new edition was rushed out just before Christmas.
The legislation was rushed through Parliament.
She felt a cold rush of air as she wound down her window. Her words came out in a rush.
At 12:05 there was a mad rush to the dinner hall. I knew there would be a last-minute rush to meet the deadline.
Don't worry, there's no rush. We don't have to be at the station until 10.
I had to do my homework in a rush because I was late.
I'm sorry, I can't talk now. I'm in a rush. The cafe is quiet until the lunchtime rush begins. The Christmas rush.
There's always a rush on swimsuits in the hot weather.
The rush to put computers in all schools. The rush to put computers in all schools.
The feeling of power gave me such a rush.
An adrenaline rush.
I felt a rush of excitement when she arrived.
A rush of jealousy swept through her.
Rush week.
Rushed.
Rushed.
We did have a meeting, but it was a bit rushed.
I'll talk to you later. I'm a bit rushed at the moment. I've been rushed off my feet all day.
Rush hour.
Rush hour.
I got caught in the morning rush hour.
Heavy rush hour traffic.
Rusk.
Rusk.
Russet.
Russet.
Russian.
Russian.
Russian roulette.
Russian roulette.
Rust.
Rust.
There were large patches of rust on the car. The metal had begun to rust.
The gate was old and badly rusted.
The blades of the swords have rusted away.
The rust belt.
Rust belt.
Rustic.
Rustic.
The village had a certain rustic charm.
A rustic chair.
Rustle.
Rustle.
She moved nearer, her long silk skirt rustling around her.
He rustled the papers on his desk.
I'll rustle up a couple of steaks on the barbecue.
The rustle of leaves in the wind.
Rustler.
Rustler.
RUSTproof.
RUSTproof.
Rusty.
Rusty.
A rusty nail.
A new metal that will never go rusty.
My French is a bit rusty.
Rut.
Rut.
I was stuck in a rut and decided to look for a new job. A stag in a rut.
Rutabaga.
Rutabaga.
Ruthless.
Ruthless.
A ruthless dictator.
They have shown a ruthless disregard for basic human rights.
He ran the company with ruthless efficiency. Throw away clothes you don't wear. Be ruthless.
The uprising was ruthlessly suppressed.
Rutted.
Rutted.
RV.
RV.
The Ryder Cup.
Ryder cup.
Rye.
Rye.
Rye bread.
Ryegrass.
Ryegrass.
S.
S.
S. Z. Sh. J. Ch. J.
A cat and two dogs.
He plays.
She sits.
The girls' dresses.
The island's inhabitants.
John's here.
What's that?
She's writing a letter. Polly's gone out.
A spider's got 8 legs.
How's he plan to do that?
My sister's husband.
Mary's generosity. Yesterday's lesson.
The children's bedroom.
I bought it at the baker's. I met him at Mary's. Sabbath.
Sabbath.
Sabbatical.
Sabbatical.
She took a long sabbatical.
Dr. Watson's away on sabbatical.
Sabre.
Saber.
Sable.
Sable.
Sabotage.
Sabotage.
Every single plane had been sabotaged.
Demonstrators have sabotaged the conference.
The terrorists were planning acts of sabotage to destabilize the country.
Industrial sabotage.
Saboteur.
Saboteur.
The lorries were wrecked by saboteurs.
Sabre.
Saber.
Saber rattling.
Saber rattling.
What the situation calls for is calm discussion, not saber rattling.
Sack.
Sack.
Saccharin.
Saccharin.
Saccharine.
Saccharin.
I hated the movie's saccharine ending.
Saccharin.
Saccharine.
Sachet.
Sachet.
A sachet of shampoo.
A lavender sachet.
Sack.
Sack.
A sack of potatoes.
We need about a sack of rice.
They've never actually given anyone the sack. He got the sack for stealing.
She claimed she'd been threatened with the sack.
It's 1 o'clock. Time to hit the sack.
I bet she's great in the sack.
The sack of Rome in 1527. They couldn't sack me. I've done nothing wrong. He was sacked from every other job he had. He was sacked for being drunk.
The Goths sacked Rome.
He sacked out on the sofa.
Sackcloth.
Sackcloth.
Sack race.
Sack race.
Sacrament.
Sacrament.
Sacred.
Sacred.
A sacred vow.
The miraculous powers of sacred relics.
Certain animals were considered sacred.
The land is sacred to these tribesmen.
Human life is sacred.
Frontiers which have held for over 40 years are no longer sacred. Few things were sacred to Henry, but local history was one of them. He had no respect for everything I held sacred.
The sacredness of human life.
Sacred cow.
Sacred cow.
In New York's show business scene, money, fame, and power are sacred cows.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
The minister stressed the need for economic sacrifice.
The workforce were willing to make sacrifices in order to preserve jobs.
She brought 3 children up single-handedly, often at great personal sacrifice.
They made sacrifices to ensure a good harvest.
In those days, an animal was offered as a sacrifice to God.
A human sacrifice.
Captain Oates made the ultimate sacrifice in a bid to save his colleagues.
A Labour government chose to sacrifice defence for welfare.
He sacrificed a promising career to look after his kids.
Mothers who sacrificed themselves for their children. Mothers who sacrificed themselves for their children.
Sacrificial.
Sacrificial.
A sacrificial ceremony.
A sacrificial lamb.
Sacrilege.
Sacrilege.
It's sacrilege to even think of destroying that lovely building.
Sacristan.
Sacristan.
Sacristy.
Sacristy.
Sacrosanct.
Sacrosanct.
Weekends are sacrosanct in our family.
Sad.
Sad.
Dad looked sad and worried as he read the letter. I was very sad to hear that he had died. Lily felt sad that Christmas was over.
I was sad about the friends I was leaving behind. There was such a sad look in her eyes.
Sorry to hear the sad news.
It was a sad case. The boy ended up in prison.
A story with a sad ending.
It was sad to see them arguing.
This is a sad day for us all.
There aren't enough teachers, which is a sad state of affairs. There aren't enough teachers, which is a sad state of affairs.
It's sad if people are too afraid to go out alone at night.
The sad fact is that prejudice still exists.
Sad to say, the country is heading towards civil war.
She's a sad character, without any friends at all.
Stay in on Saturday night? What a sad idea.
He came out of the relationship sadder, but wiser.